on Facebook or YouTube. As always, I'm Sheldon Kay, the MTE show manager, and I'll be introducing the speaker today. Before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, The Rag Company. I'm going to play a video for you. All right, so today I'm welcome to have Dave Streen, who's going to help us discover the difference a little marketing can do. Dave, I'm going to bring you in, and then you take.
Guys, education series, discover the difference a little marketing can do for you and your business, obviously. I'm going to start off explaining. A lot of people might not. I'm going to go real basic at first, but basically, a lot of people don't know the difference between marketing and advertising and sales. And I like to say that sales is what you do when you're face to face with your customer. Okay, that's when you're doing your pitch, your spiel, whatever you want to call it. You're presenting your services and the packages you offer. Okay. Marketing is getting the message to them before you're face to face so that you can get face to face. And so that's your message, that's your education, that's your pricing, all of that wraps up into it. And then advertising is pouring gas on the fire. Once you know your marketing message, you can spend money on advertising, running ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, different things like that to get your message out to your target audience and stuff. So that's kind of what the difference is there. And I'm going to share a few stories with you guys and go over some of the things that I've found that works for paintless dent repair, as well as I used to do mobile detailing back in the day and everything. So I know part of our audience is in that arena. So basically any service-based industry. It's a little different doing this way versus in person, because normally I'll interact and I'll ask the audience, how they make up, which industry they're representing and that sort of stuff. But we'll go ahead and dig into it a little bit. So do you need marketing for your business to, survive or thrive? The answer is no, but I hate that answer because your business is going to be a much harder to run business if you're always out there having to chase leads and get new referrals and constantly getting new people every time you do a job. Can you do it? Sure, but it's a long, hard road. Now if you've been doing this for decades, you've already built up your clientele base and you're as busy as you can handle and you don't want to expand and grow anymore, keep doing what you're doing. Okay. But most of us aren't lucky enough to be in that position. We're in the position where we'd rather have either more customers or a better customer. Okay. And we'll get into that a little bit later. What makes a better customer and how to attract them and how to repel the people that you don't want to work with. One of the first things I want to do is tell a little story called Backyard Diamonds. And basically the way the story goes is this farmer, his wife passed away, he didn't have any kids or anything. So he sold the family farm and went off and tried to discover diamonds. And he went to all these different continents, digging diamond mines and this and that. And he never found anything. And then he finally, years later, found out that they discovered one of the largest diamond mines in the world, and it was on the farm that he had sold. So it's just a little parable to kind of tell you that there's diamonds in your own backyard. Okay, that is your list. If you're not familiar with a list is, it's just a list of people that you've done work for before, or that you potentially could do work with in the future. If you don't have an actual list, and a list can be anything from making a list on a notepad to an Excel sheet to a fancy CRM, which is customer management system, CMS, stuff like that. However you want to track them, track your list is fine as long as you have a list. And obviously, the bigger your list goes, the more you want to automate that or you rely on technology. If you have 5,000 people on your list, you don't want to use a notepad still. So that's a little bit about that. Mobile Tech RX is great if you're using that for writing your estimates because you can get your customer list right from that. And then knowing what to do with that list is the next step. But just making sure that you're collecting a list is the first thing you can do to really help improve your business and invest in your future growth. So again, if you're using a system like Mobile Tech RX, your customer information is getting collected for you as you go. And even if you don't plan on doing anything with it right now, just make sure you're collecting it so that when you do want to do with it, you have a built list versus starting with the first person on your list when you decide you need one. So some of the things you can do with that list is remarketing. So somebody that's already used your service, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. They're much more apt to use you again. So that's you want to retarget those people. You can do that in many ways, but basically you want to stay front of mind with them. You don't want to just disappear. Hey, thanks, that was a great transaction. I've got your money. You've got a dent-free car. Let's part ways forever. No, you want to stay in touch with those people, and maybe it's a quarterly newsletter or an email or anything like that. You can send them a coupon, anything like that to fill in your slow spots or your busy season. And basically try and level out your workflow so that you're happier and more productive. Um, let's see. One of my points I wanted to make is the red light, green light. Kind of touching on what I just talked about is a lot of us wait until our schedule is empty and then we say, oh, we need more cars. Okay. No, you want to, and it's really tough because when you're slammed and you're working long hours and you don't know how you're going to get through the workday, it's tough to say, hey, let me do a little bit of marketing on top of that. Okay. But again, if you wait till you're completely empty, it's too late because most marketing takes some time to bring cars in. It's not an immediate flip the switch. Now, there are some immediate things, and that's where, again, Facebook ads, Google ads, stuff like that can make an immediate hit as long as you're already set up. So all of those systems allow you to build your advertising and your ads out, and you can either schedule them out so they consistently go out when you want them to, or you can just have the campaign totally built and just pause it so that when you're super slammed, you don't spend any money on it. But before you're slowing down, maybe you're 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, whatever you're comfortable being scheduled out, you can unpause those campaigns and get the leads coming in again before nothing's on the schedule for the rest of the week. Oh no, you don't want to be in that position or you're leaving money on the table and you're causing yourself undue stress. So that's again, don't play that red light green light game. You want to smooth it out so that you're always marketing even a little bit, and then again be able to toggle it to how your schedule looks. So that's a little bit about that. So let's back up a step, and the first thing I always do when I'm working with a new marketing client is take a look at what they currently have. Everything you have is an asset for your business, but and it should all work together. So I look at it. Do you have business card? Well, first, do you have a logo? Do you have a business name that's good? Do you have a website? Do you have business cards? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have Google, whatever they're calling it this month? My Places, I think it's what the current one. Maybe I'm out of date. I don't know. I'm not in that. That's not my focus right now. But again, there's a checklist of things that you want to make sure that you have them all in place and that they're all branded consistently and sending the same message so that what winds up happening is we have a checklist of things that we want to do for marketing and we start just building it and checking them off. And then as we grow and we go, oh, I like this better. Or, oh, this guy just did this for me and I really like the look of that. We oftentimes don't go back and refresh everything so that it stays the same message. And that's branding. That's how you know a Subway restaurant or a McDonald's before you can even read the sign because you know their logo and their colors. That's branding. So if a customer happens to, maybe they pick up my business card at the bank or something, and they look at it and then they go to the website, is it a consistent feel for them? Or is my website all red and black and silver and cool? And then they get over the business cards that way, and then they go over to the website and it's blues and greens and everything else. That's a disconnect. They might even be saying, is this the same company? So again, that's why you want a consistent message throughout your branding. To where and I think it all starts with a logo. So you take a logo, here's my EdgyTools logo, you can see the colors that I've chosen and everything. So when you go to my business cards, they're going to have that same look and feel. A flyer that I send out, same look and feel. When you go to the website, and right now it might not be the same look and feel, we're actually rolling out a brand new website. But again, it should be very, very similar if it's not a consistent follow through on that. So stay on track. So that's making sure your branding, the look is the same and a nice feel, and it represents you and what you care about and your company and everything. And then your marketing message. What are you telling the customers? What sets you apart? So for instance, my emphasis is on ergonomics a lot with my tools. I hurt my shoulder. I had to give up a very lucrative hail career, went to zero on me, couldn't push dents anymore. So that's where I'm really in tune with ergonomics and stuff like that. Am I sharing that message enough that people know that about my brand, or am I keeping it a well-known secret or well-kept secret that nobody knows about? Because maybe I'm too much in my humor or different things like that my message is diluted by my own marketing. So again, for your business, what makes you special? Okay, and hopefully you're not competing on price. Okay, tap on that a little bit, touch on that a little bit. So people care about price. Either A, they're the wrong client, B, you're marketing to the wrong people or something, or C, they just don't know what else to ask. If you ask the general public what's PDR, it's physician's desk reference. Okay, they don't know what paintless dent repair is. It's a mystery to them still. Believe it or not, there's still body shops in America that don't know what PDR is, or haven't seen it performed at a quality level enough that they value it as a trade and a skill. So for us to think that the market's saturated and everybody knows the cheap dent guy down the road, it's just not the case. So when your customers are asking about price, it's because you didn't give them something else to ask you about. And that steps into where you want to be doing a little bit of education-based marketing. Example of that is how you position yourself. So I like the example that if I draw, a little face on the wall, there's some art. Okay, if I stick that to the wall, it's pretty much worthless. Okay, now if I spend a little more time, I'm not an artist, but if I had it a little nicer, but then if I framed it on the wall, hey, it's worth a little more. Now if I put some special lighting on it, hey, it's worth a little more maybe. And then you go to auction and it's real exciting and everything else. Now my art's worth the most or whatever. So you want to really position yourself in a way that customers aren't shopping for price. Some of the ways to do that for paintless dent repair is, hey, we save your factory finish. We're not going to grind your paint off and have mismatched colors and whatever. A lot of guys do that message, but just figure out what's unique to you and what you can do. My message was always, hey, I've traveled all over the world. I've worked in hail in Italy and Germany and France and Australia and all these wild places. And it got the conversation switched over to that versus, even their car and their dent or price or anything like that. So I'm kind of glazing over that for the sake of time. I don't want to go too deep on that, but if you want to know more, just Google unique selling proposition, USP. And basically it's whatever sets you apart. Maybe you're a military background and you give military discounts and that's your target market. Come up with a message directly that speaks to that. One of the ways, like I always have conversations with guys that they say, well, in my area, I just don't get the right clientele. And then I dig a little deeper and find out that they don't have any branding or marketing and they're only running Craigslist ads and they're advertising the cheapest dent in town. Well, of course, those are the fish you're going to reel in. Okay. If you switch that to, let's say you're marketing in a golf magazine or something like that, now you're going to get higher clientele with better cars and they're going to be willing to pay a little more. It's all in your positioning and who you're trying to attract. The way I personally get rid of those, A, I don't advertise on Craigslist, but B, I have a starting at price. So a starting at price is a good way to just get rid of the tire kickers. The person that thinks their dent's going to be popped out for 20 bucks or 50 bucks or whatever, it says right there. And I play around with that starting at price a lot. And I noticed that when I first did it years ago, I was starting at $75 and I made it 95 and thought my business is going to fall off. Not one person cared. I didn't lose any work. So I went to 125, then I went to 149. I think the last that I was, when I was really pushing a lot, I think I was doing starting at 2.25, and I still got more work than I wanted. But that just gets rid of and positions people to know, hey, I'm not your cheapest, I'm your best dent guy, you know. So I got a little off topic on that, but so that's a little bit on that. So now is all of our slow season, and I really feel for you. My heart's out to you guys that are really suffering with the cold weather. That's unexpected down the south and everything. Was talking to one of my friends the other day, and he said, "Yeah, as soon as I warm up, he's going around the neighborhood collecting stray cats and dogs and bringing them in and stuff like that." I guess it's the worst storm in 50 years. So I apologize for that, but on that note, now's the time to really be studying your marketing. We're all slow. There aren't any major hailstorms out there going on right now that we're missing out or anything like that. And most of the country's, under snow still. It's not prime season, is what I'm getting at. Now is the time to take a look and step back and say, how's my marketing? Am I ready to really take 2021 and make my best year ever? Okay. And start with everything. Like I said, look at your business cards, look at your flyers, look at your website, look at your social media. What can be improved? There's not one person on the planet that says my marketing is perfect, I'm dialed in. So it just doesn't happen. It's a work in progress, but now is the best time to analyze that while you have time to make changes and improvements. And a lot of it can be done yourself with a little bit of studying and asking the right people the right questions and stuff like that, and just Googling things. But a lot of it you want to outsource, and I understand that for a lot of us, we tighten our belts for the slow season. It's scary to start spending money before you're making it. But in 20 years that I've been doing PDR, I've never seen it where it doesn't. You don't have a busy season and you don't get slammed. Have I seen it as early as January, February, March? Yeah. Has it been as late as April, May, June? Yeah. But it always happens. So make sure that when it does happen, you're in a position to just ride that wave, okay, versus fighting it. So again, now's the time. Really, step back. Maybe this weekend, just say, and I like to use what's called customer eyes. Put yourself in the position of your ideal customer, not your average customer. Figure out who's my best customer, okay? And look at your QuickBooks, whatever you're using for marketing or whatever, and you can pull that up and see who wrote you the biggest checks in 2020. Those are probably your most lucrative customers to look at and say, all right, how do I make sure that I do more work for them? And who do I know and how can I attract more people like them? So I often use the story of a soccer mom. If the soccer mom's one of your best retail customers because she's always getting dents in her car from her kids and their kids' friends and whatever, and she's bringing the minivan in all the time. Well, guess what? Sponsor her soccer team or her kids, whatever team, and market to those people because they're probably in the same position she's in. Find your biggest check writers and think about it for a little bit and say, where are more of those people? And then how do I market them and bring them into my business so that I'm expanding the right type of person? I always explain, don't chase the money and the good experiences. Don't just chase the work. Okay. If you want more work, put a sign up in your front yard that says free dent repair. You'll be busy all day. Okay. I don't think that's anybody's goal. The goal is to grow a successful business. And part of that is revenue and profit and all that. So again, find those biggest check writers. That's again where you can go back to your list and reach out to them. And it doesn't always have to be, hey, can I have more of your money? Hey, I hope you have dents. Please bring them in. It doesn't have to be that. It can be, hey, it's slow season right now, and I'm just getting caught up, and I wanted to reach back out and say thank you for the work you allowed us to do the past year. Hope you've loved it all, and we value you as a customer, and And hey, would you mind leaving us a review? Here's a link that you could do that on. Or hey, do you know two other people that might be in your situation that could use our services? There's a lot of ways to reach back out to them. But again, if you don't have that list, there's nobody to reach back out to. Okay. Um, it's just like Christmas cards. If you don't have your list before December, you're scrambling, you're probably not going to send out cards. Okay. So it's important to start building that list so that when you do come to where you're going to remarket to them, either for service, more, for the revenue and like that, or for referrals, testimonials, whatever else you can think of. Maybe there's connections and collaborations and all like that. I remember when I lived in Wisconsin, the Frito-Lay plant was one of the biggest employers in the area, and I think they had like 700 cars in their parking lot on any given day. And just the one person that I was friends with from fixing their personal car, they let me put my flyers in the break room and stuff. Boom, I took off. Just little things like that. You never know how it's gonna come about, but if you're not doing that stuff or thinking about that stuff, it won't happen. So let's see. And again, asking for referrals. The reason why those are so important is third-party proof. Okay. If I tell you my hanger is the best thing ever, you should own one and do it. Use it for your dent tools. Yeah, that's just me bragging and whatever. But when I show people that at MTE years ago, I won the accessory of the year from PDR Tool Time for that, that's social proof. When I put that plaque on my booth, everybody walking by bought a hanger from me. It's social proof. It's the same thing for your companies. If you did a great detail or removed a dent real well and whatever, you want that person to tell people about it. Okay. And then really quickly, I'll talk on that. When you do get a raving review, don't keep it to yourself. Okay. Always screenshot it if it's digital. If it's on Yelp or social media or anything like that, screenshot it. That way you own it. That platform can't bury it or hide it or anything like that. And then you can repurpose it. So let's say I get a Yelp review that says, Dave fixed my car. Great, man. It was a pleasure. He helped with all the insurance and everything else. Everything went great. Cool. I screenshot that. Now I share that Yelp review on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on Instagram, wherever your social media presence is. Share that review all over the place. Have a spot on your website for it. Print it out and hand it out, to people. I mean, frame it, put it on the wall. There's a million things you could do with a review. Don't just tuck it in a drawer or forget about it and figure, oh, that's on Yelp, that stays on Yelp. Repurpose those reviews. They'll do better than an ad ever will. Going back to my tools, if I run an ad for one of my tips, it'll get some sales, sure. Okay. But when a industry influencer does a review on one of my tips, things go crazy. Like, it's all of a sudden like, I remember the one year at MTE, the booth opened up and one of my tips like sold out like within 15 minutes. And I'm like, this isn't even my most popular tip. What's going on? Well, I found out that during the advanced skills seminar that Shane and Keith put on, my friend Jean had told everybody, this is the only tip I use in all my competitions, all my dent repair. It's the greatest thing I've ever come across, and everybody that was there came running over to my booth and bought them. So again, it's if somebody else is saying it, it means more. Again, if I say I make the best pizza in the world, I'm just bragging. If 10 other people tell you, oh, you got to try Dave Streen's pizza, it's amazing. Now you want to try my pizza. Okay, so that's the benefit of social proof. Lastly, I want to talk on marketing, a concept where it's 3 feet from gold is the concept. So let's say I'm digging for gold in my yard and I've got a 10-foot bit that I'm drilling down into the ground with, and I'm not coming up with any gold no matter where I dig and everything else. I assume, hey, there's no gold in my yard. Okay. Well, what if you saw that the gold was 12 feet down? And I just continually dug 10-foot holes everywhere. Of course, I'm not hitting gold, right? I didn't go deep enough with it. Okay. So when you're doing any form of marketing, it's going to take different lengths of time and different financial investments to break even and then to pay off. Okay. So some examples of that are, let's just take Facebook ads, okay? Which, and first of all, like if you're running your own ads, be careful. That's a form of gambling. It's like walking up to the table and just throwing money down and saying, I'm willing to lose it. Maybe I'll win. Okay. There's things like if you're going to run Facebook ads, you better have what's called a tracking pixel in place and a bunch of different things dialed in with your target market and everything else and lookalike audiences and stuff to before you start spending money on that, just to have more success. But again, and when you run an ad, you're going to see a certain result. Okay. Did it fall flat? Stop doing it or figure out why it fell flat. Well, maybe it drove a lot of traffic to this landing page, but then the landing page didn't convert any of that traffic to a lead or a sale. Okay. That's a different problem than the ad didn't send anybody to the page at all. Okay. So you want to analyze the numbers. And with marketing, everything is numbers. Okay. I even think that like Coke and McDonald's and all that are stupid for marketing or for branding, spending money that way and saying, well, the ad didn't make us any money, but it raised brand awareness. Okay. We're definitely too small to worry about that. In my mind, if you spend $1 on marketing, you should get $1 back plus whatever profit you want from that ad, or why keep doing it? For years with the yellow pages, it was an exact break even proposition for me. If I spent $1,000 on a yellow page ad, I'd get $1,000 worth of work that year. If I spent 5,000, I'd get 5,000 worth of work. Well, I said, this is silly. I'll just sit on the couch and watch movies. I can, make zero return doing that. Now, had I been doubling or tripling my money with those, I would have kept rolling in until that curved off. Okay. So watch your numbers and don't just be like, well, I feel like we're busier. It must be working. No, you want to track everything you do so you know it's working. And then when you see something's really working, feed that thing more. Okay. When something's not working, again, stop it or pause it at least and figure out why isn't it working. Okay. Is it a traffic problem or is it a conversion problem? If those numbers are different, if you're not familiar with those, traffic is the number of people that actually go from your ad to your site. Conversion is somebody that is on your site and actually contacts you. Okay, so, and I've only got a few minutes left and then we'll open up to questions and answers, but something I should have probably started my presentation at the beginning is how I think the internet works. So in my mind, nothing happens until we work on a car. If it's PDR, we fix a dent, we get paid. If it's detailing, we do a detail, we get paid. So nothing happens until we're in front of a car and we fix that damage. Then money can go in the bank. Okay. So all of our marketing should be geared towards making that happen. Okay. That's the winning end of the race. Okay. So our website, everything on the website should be there to get people over the fear of contacting us. And believe it or not, people are afraid to contact us and make calls. They're busy; they don't have time to. They're worried that they're going to get a tricky salesman on the other end of the line. They're worried about a million things, and so they don't reach out. So everything on your website should be framing you that you're trustworthy. You're not going to be gone the next day when they need you. You're established, you're credible, you do things the right way, all of that. You build that trust factor so that they call you, email you, text you, however you want them reaching out to you. But again, if they don't reach out to you, you're not fixing their car, you're not going to the bank. Okay. So that's the website. The website's everything on there needs to be to build trust to get them to contact you. Okay. Now, the rest of the internet, social media, and everything else is the same purpose, either another way to get them to reach out and maybe they Facebook message you or they click on a link and they go to your website. So that's all of social media in my mind, is to carry that conversation going. And there's different platforms for different reasons. So Facebook to me is the most conversational. It's where I go to just provide value and gain trust and rapport so that people aren't afraid when I say, hey, reach out and call me. Let's talk about this further. Okay. If you're looking for a younger crowd, do the same thing on Instagram or Snapchat or something. If you're looking for a more professional crowd, go up to LinkedIn or something like that. So each social media has its own vibe and its own people that are hanging out there. Go to where your ideal market is. It might be different for all of us depending on what we're trying to attract. But that's the point of that. Again, gain trust, get them to contact you. or get them to go to your website so that they contact you. Same thing with all your paper media, your business cards, your postcards, your flyers, your banners, your billboards, whatever else you're doing, is to get them to contact you, either direct or to get them to go to a website so that they gain trust and answer the questions so they contact you. But again, if you're not fixing that car, you're not going to the bank. So that's the flow that I see how the internet works is, and how marketing and everything works is you have that end goal, and so everything should be stepping stones to get that person to that goal. Okay. Uh, and that's it. I'm at my time, so let's open it up to some questions. Um, I don't know if Sheldon's here. So, oh, there we go. Cool.
There I am. So yeah, just make sure you drop your questions in the comments if you have any. And Dave, while we wait for some questions to come in, I'll ask you one.
Okay.
So obviously, a lot of these PDR guys, detailers, are very good at their craft and their trade. They might just be starting out. Do you think they should take a stab at doing the marketing and everything themselves, or should they look to like even just a basic like GoDaddy that can kind of support you at the beginning? Or what do you think is the best way for them to get started?
So again, it depends on the image they want to represent and their ideal customer that they're trying to attract. Okay. If you look at anybody's website and marketing, you can tell if they did it themselves versus a professional company doing it. Okay. Sometimes that's pros and cons. If you're looking for more work and you don't mind doing less expensive work or whatever, do that. So, for example, for my own companies, I have autohail.com and it's all prim and proper and it impresses insurance companies and body shops and dealerships and everything. But it's a little too corporate and stuffy for bringing a customer to my house where I'm going to pop their dent out for, people are going to kill me for saying pop a dent out, where I'm going to perform their repair in my garage. Okay. So for that, I made dent repair chandleraz.com. I think I'm not even sure if the site's up right now or not, but it was, and I had my guys build it, but I said, build it like it's a homemade done myself website because I wanted that comfortable. I'm a one man show. I'm going to be the guy working on your car type of vibe. So just know that it is different. A dent guy or a detailer is not going to do marketing at a level of somebody that's gone to school for 20 years and study the colors that go into a logo, and that, like even my logo, purple and orange mean different things subconsciously when we see them. Okay. Blue is a big trust color and stuff like that. So a lot of times we pick colors just because we like the colors, but they actually mean different things to subconsciously. So somebody that knows that and studies that and does that for a living is going to do a better job than we are. One of my buddies said it best, Dave, if you need a plumber, hire a plumber. Go out and fix another dent to pay for that plumber. Okay. Don't strap on your tool belt and go try and fix your plumbing. It's not going to turn out the way you want it. So same thing with your marketing. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck too, especially if you use somebody like us or Mike Toledo or Lynn or somebody that's familiar already with paintless dent repair, than just going to a marketing company that has no idea what PDR is and what our customers need to know and all that. By the time they learn all that stuff, they've burned up their time and their budget. So that's my advice: is find somebody that's already doing it successfully, and then get a lot of testimonials and referrals, and do your homework and check up and make sure that they're doing what they say they are. That's a big reason how I got into marketing. Was I was tired of getting burned. I'd hire these people and they'd sound like the greatest thing in the world, and I just got burned by a company last year, sort of. They not really. They fell short of their promises by quite a lot. But it's with marketing, there's no sure guarantees or whatever, but there's definitely tracking metrics and key performance indicators that you can watch to know that it's working and that it's growing and getting better and improving. And then again, that digging for gold, a lot of times guys don't give it enough time. They'll do it for 2-3 months and say, well, this just doesn't work. And maybe they were 3 feet from hitting that gold. One more month would have flipped the switch and had it dialed in. So
Awesome. Well, Corey was wondering about, and this could be an entire session on its own, so you don't need to get
Yeah.
too technical, but he's wondering how you set up the pixels for Facebook tracking and what does Facebook retargeting mean?
So I don't want to go too deep on that. Like you said, it gets very complex. Basically, a pixel is another word for a tracking code. Just like Google Analytics is a little snippet, a UA dash a bunch of numbers that's like your code for Google. You put it on the homepage of your website, and then Google can track the traffic and what pages they went to and everything else like that. Same thing with a tracking pixel for Facebook. It's just a little bit of code that you create, you put it on your website. So for me, for EdgyTools, I can see, and all the tool companies, everything use this. We can see, hey, this person went to the website, they clicked to this page and this page, but they never checked out, or they went all the way through checkout. So if I know that somebody went to my website, checked out a few things, and bought and checked out at the cart, I know this is a paintless dent repair technician. I can do what's called remarketing to them. So I can set that pixel and say, this guy bought this product, show him ads for these products next. Okay. And when you do a retargeting ad, it's pennies versus dollars on the ad spend. So it's way cheaper. So that's a good example of that. If you've ever bought anything on Amazon or anywhere, and then you go to Facebook and all these other places, and all you do is see ads for those. Whiteboards is the worst. I was buying a whiteboard once, and I must have got tracked for like 6 months. All I saw were whiteboard ads. But it could get a little creepy if it's done evilly or maliciously. But that's not how we're doing it. We're just saying, hey, you're a dent guy. We're going to show you more dent tools. So that's what that is. Uh, and Lynn's an expert on the tracking pixel or anything, so I can connect you guys with him if you want. He does a magnificent job setting that up and making sure that your site is ready for that to convert. So again, in Coach Corey K, he might have it on his site that if somebody goes there and watches a certain video, he can retarget them with more information on that video, something like that. So.
Great. SmartFix was wondering, can you recommend something like Loomi, Hootsuite, or other program for scheduling uploads to social media?
I can, but I don't. So any of the automated schedulers are great. They make our lives really easy. But Facebook and Twitter and any of the system platforms that you're going to be using those for do a real good job of knowing that's manual, and they won't give you near the same love. So you're better off, in my opinion, doing one post a week yourself at different times and like that, so that they know that it's you doing it versus setting up one a day at the same time every day and whatever. And even if you stagger them through the Hootsuite or something like that, it's going to know it, and you're not going to get the same love out of it that you would. Same thing. There's all kinds of rules that, again, if you Google it or call me, we can talk about it or whatever. If you do a post and the post has a link in the post, it's not going to get near the same traction and love, especially if that's an outbound link, which almost always is. So if I share a link that says check out the new, if I say check out my new knockers tips and just leave it at that, it'll get shown a lot more than if I say check out my new knockers tips, edgytools.com/knockers tips or whatever. If I have that link in there, it's not going to get near the traction, near the eyeballs on it, near the likes and all of that. They've really got their algorithms dialed in. So as far as that, Hootsuite is as good as any for those auto schedulers, but I think you're a lot better off just having the content prepared and organized in a folder so that it's pre-done for you and you have a calendar so you can just go in and share it yourself. And actually, a lot of the social medias have a scheduler built into them that you can use, and then they're not going to ding you as they would if you use a third-party scheduler. So that's my advice on scheduling content.
Great. So got one about more ads. So for ads on social media and Nextdoor sites, does it work to use short-term discount codes, or is it better to give it more time to see if it works? So I think he's talking about like using the codes to measure success.
So yeah, again, you want to track everything, and there's all kinds of sophisticated ways to do that. we set up different phone numbers, different landing pages, 301 redirects are a different thing that we use. You always want to track everything. Coupons are a great way to track that, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always good. What I don't like though is if you have a coupon that expires, in my mind, you're leaving a trail out there that somebody's going to find that and then get mad at you because your coupon expired on them or something like that. So if your coupon's going to expire, make sure the ad does too, and the original post or whatever goes away as well. I like to make sure that everything on social media and everything is evergreen. It can just stay there, and then I'll change out my coupons on the landing page that I'm sending people to. And something that I didn't mention is keeping that consistent flow from your ad to where you're sending them needs to stay the same. So I always use the example that if I see an ad for a cool new running shoe and I click on it and I just go to the home page with all thousands of shoes, or even worse, I go to a lady's high heel shoe on there, like there's a disconnect. I was looking at this cool running shoe because I wanted to buy that running shoe. So again, it should be a very continual flow. So for example, like with hail, if I'm doing a landing page for Memphis, Tennessee, set of storms. So if I do a landing page for Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm running an ad, it should be, Memphis, Tennessee, severe hailstorm. Click on the ad, boom, they go right to that landing page that carries on the conversation. It shouldn't be a different branding look and a different conversation, or just dump you on my homepage and hope you figure out what I do and why you're there or whatever. So you really want to make it a breadcrumb trail that's real easy to follow and feels like it's just a naturally flowing event.
Awesome. Well, it looks like that's all the questions we have now. Do you have any closing remarks or statement for people?
So I'd like to mention the Dream event real quick, if that's right. So this is it's going to be an online expo. It can be found at dentrepair.com. I've got a list of just some of the people that have agreed to speak: Gene Fetty, Dave Shalott, David Haxton, Kevin Bird, Clifton Atkins, Maximus Strand. Sorry, I always butcher that. Christopher Ray, Matt Moore, David White, Jack Bucknell, John Vidic, John Scotto. We've got tons of them. Don and I are going to be speaking. There's going to be just tons of knowledge. It's going to be at a better format. It's going to be a very condensed. They're going to be 15-minute PowerPoints, basically to help you level up your business on all types of different topics and things like that. So I hope everybody goes to dentrepair.com and checks that out and joins us there as well. So
awesome. I'm not sure if I was on mute last time I was trying to talk, but sorry.
Awesome. No,
yeah,
that's great.
That's great. Yeah, super exciting, dentrepair.com. So yeah, well, Dave, thank you very much for this. This was a great session. Had some good questions and really appreciate you coming out to do this with us.
Oh, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Can't wait to see you in Vegas in August and finally catch up in person.
Oh, I know. Gosh, I keep saying, I'm at least 10, 20,000 hugs shy this past year. I need to see you guys. It's been too long. It's hard.
Well, also thank you to the Rad Company, G Technique, Coach Me, and PNS Detail as being our sponsors. And we will see you all next week, Thursday at 6